more, less dystopian news, or at least we can kind of have a party as the world burns. Donald Trump yesterday was dealt a significant blow to his unilateral tariff policy. The U.S. Court of International Trade ruled via a 3-judge panel that included one Reagan, one Trump, and one Obama judge on it. Obviously, all communists, right? We're all in agreement?
The far left, yeah.
Okay. And the Antifa panel ruled that basically his invocation of this like unilateral tariff policy, quote, exceeds any authority granted under the emergency powers law that he's using. This is significant because he has used the International Emergency Economic Powers Act, which is a 1977 law, to invoke a majority of his tariffs, like the unilateral ones from Liberation Day, essentially. That's the 25% duties on Canadian and Mexican products that he imposed, the 20% tariff on Chinese products, which he says is because of a fentanyl emergency. This is the same authority, I believe, that he used for both Canada and Mexico, because
also supposedly about fentanyl.
Right. We know that a great majority of our fentanyl comes through legal ports of entry, but like he has to, much like his invocation of the Alien Enemies Act to round up and deport people, he has to use emergency declarations to justify any of these actions, and his tariff policy was based on that same kind of framework and a battle plan, if you will, by his administration, and so the statute that he was using requires a national emergency to be declared. And that was part of what this 3-judge panel was incredibly skeptical of, the idea that he has the authority to do this. And now you see Republicans crying about this. I saw Charlie Kirk was very upset that, no, he does have the authority. He does. They're all leftist losers or whatever. He can use it under the Trade Expansion Act of 1962. This ruling does not nullify those tariffs, but those tariffs are a lot more narrow because they have to be imposed, one, on national security grounds. It's not an emergency declaration. 2, these are the tariffs that he implemented in March, the ones on steel and aluminum that are more directed towards the auto industry. That has to be implemented after there's been an investigation. And it's a slower process. You have to investigate whether or not this is the right thing to do. There's a lot of paperwork. You have to conduct a national security review. And you also have to solicit public comment to use that particular law to implement tariffs, the 1962 Trade Expansion Act. Trump doesn't want to do that, right? Like the immigration stuff, like the tariff stuff, all of his power is he's attempting to utilize it in the way that cements his authority and expands his power as the executive. So not using the checks and balances that are both in the statute, but are also constitutionally written for the executive branch. He's attempting to supersede those. And in part, he likes the tariffs just because he's insane and the immigration stuff. But there's the other part of like him testing those bounds in and of itself is an end that he's trying to achieve.
We're in a state of exception. Tim Pool said, some academics said we're in 7th generational warfare. Canada's flooding us with fentanyl. And until you do it, we're going to tax your lumber. Yeah.
David Dayen wrote a good piece about that this morning, and he was saying, like, yeah, the president does have the authority technically, presidents don't have the authority from the Constitution to impose tariffs, but basically for around 100 years, Congress has allowed the president to do so.
Deferred to the executive. Same way like Obama got trade TPA status to do the Trans-Pacific Partnership in his final years, like, Congress has been fine, you can do this, until like someone insane gets in there,
Right,
that starts messing up stuff for their donors.
yes. And so but to put it even more succinctly, like Dayan said, he has broad authority to do this based on what you're saying, Matt, but Trump just used the illegal one because the point is trying to cement his power, expand the power of the executive, make himself more like a dictator than like a traditional president. This is the unitary executive theory, and he chose the illegal course of action for that reason. And so now he's throwing a fit. He was upset about this. The White House has petitioned the court, and they want to try to continue to use this authority to impose tariffs. We'll see what the Supreme Court does. But since it was unanimous and, I don't know, I felt like the ruling was pretty bulletproof. We'll see how the Supreme Court responds. Like, they also represent capital, and capitalists are not happy about the tariffs.
Which is like kind of the big problem for them.
Right. But it's bad for all of us. Right.
Yeah.
So we're in it with them in this narrow instance. Here's Trump being asked about how Wall Street has been speaking about him and his tariff policy, and he gets really pissed off. Apparently, the Financial Times coined this acronym called TACO, which stands for Trump Always Chickens Out. And a reporter asked him about this.
Wall Street analysts have coined a new term called the taco trade. They're saying Trump always chickens out on your tariff threats, and that's why markets are higher this week. What's your response to that?
I kick out?
Chicken out.
Oh, isn't that nice? Chicken out. I've never heard that. You mean because I reduced China from 145% that I set down to 100 and then down to another number? And I said you have to open up your whole country. And because I gave the European Union a 50% tax tariff, and they called up and they said, please, let's meet right now. Please, let's meet right now. And I said, okay, I'll give you till July 9. I actually asked them, I said, what's the date? Because they weren't willing to meet. And after I did what I did, they said, we'll meet anytime you want. And we have an end date of July 9th. You call that chickening out? Because we have $14 trillion now invested, committed to investing when Biden didn't have practically anything. This country was dying. You know, we have the hottest country anywhere in the world. I went to Saudi Arabia. The king told me. He said, you got the hottest, we have the hottest country in the world right now.
What?
6 months ago, this country was stone cold dead.
Okay, I'm sorry.
We had a dead country. We had a country people didn't think it was.
That's like pretty much the opposite. You could just read actually the Financial Times, who coined taco, Trump always chickens out, which dangerous coinage, I think. But the FT was talking about the economy during Biden's lame duck period as the envy of the entire world. Everyone else, Europe was struggling. Everyone was putting money into American companies because they expected Trump to get in and basically just allow massive amounts of mergers and acquisitions. And instead, what he did is blow up the economy with these stupid tariffs. But the American economy was roaring. Look at any financial press in Biden's lame duck period, and it was crushing.
And it doesn't mean that like people's
rent was available.
Right, rent is as high as it's ever been. We just hit a record of credit card debt. People are student loan defaults are just restarting on people's credit scores. Like, for everyday people, the economy was a bit of a paper tiger, right? Or whatever I don't know. But the tiger sounds more aggressive, but you know what I'm trying to say. Like,
it's a speculator's economy.
Yes. Yeah. But for their metrics, for the metrics of the ruling class, it was undoubtedly in a much better situation under the Biden administration. And it's a direct result of these tariffs. U.S. GDP, I headline this, shrank for the first time in 3 years since the first quarter of 2022, which was when we were still recovering from COVID. It had been expanding since then. Consumer spending is also at its weakest since this period. So he's just lying. But I don't know. We should try to use Trump always chickens out. Like, Trump always chickens out on not sending arms to Israel. He always chickens out on blocking arms to Israel.
That is an interesting way.
Stop chickening out on sanctioning Israel.
I was telling Russ, it kind of worries me because it's kind of like when Chris Murphy was like, actually, he's not even deported that many people. Like, you're challenging him to do the actual thing we don't want him to do. But okay, fine. If we can make it about chickening out of standing up to Bibi Netanyahu,
Yes.
fine. Then we can do it.
All right, keep going. I should note also that Janine Pirro is standing right behind him.
Pretty still, too.
Her Honor.
Her Honor, the judge.
You know, we have the hottest country anywhere in the world. I went to
So
Saudi
hot.
Arabia. The king told me.
Let's talk about
He
temperature.
said, "You got the hottest. We have the hottest country in the world right now. 6 months ago, this country was stone cold dead. We had a dead country. We had a country people didn't think it was going to survive. And you ask a nasty question like that. It's called
Female
negotiation.
reporter.
You set a number." And if you go down, you know, if I set a number at a ridiculous high number and I go down a little bit, a little bit, they want me to hold that number, 145% tariff. Even I said, man, that really got up. You know how it got? Because of fentanyl and many other things. And you added it
I'm
up.
lying about.
I said, where are we now? We're at 145%. I said, whoa, that's high. That's high. They were doing no business.
You're in
whatsoever.
charge.
They were having a lot of problems. We were very nice to China. I don't know if they're going to be nice to us, but we were very nice to China. And in many ways, I think we really helped China tremendously because, they were having great difficulty because we were basically going cold turkey with China. We were doing no business because of the tariff, because it was so high.
Yeah.
But I knew that. But don't ever say what you said. That's a nasty question. Go ahead.
Don't ever say I chicken out.
First of all, how dare you?
First of all, come on. I'm actually now I'm even more convinced that we need to make taco into something more productive.
It's dangerous because not only does it call Trump basically a wimp, but it's also sort of Mexican culture, which is going to aggravate his racism.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I feel like I don't know, if we come back and it's 200% tariffs on everyone in the entire world next week, I guess we have to thank the FT.
Yeah, although he does like Taco Bell, although probably not as much as McDonald's. But,
Yeah, no.
In any event,
The best is yet to come.
God did that. I believe that.
I totally believe that.
I totally believe in God.
Hey, folks, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and check out our daily show. We do it every day at 12 p.m. Eastern for about 2.5 hours. We even take phone calls. You should check that out.